Hey planty people, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Sonia and this is Majestical Plants. You see this beauty right here? She's my OG. She's the one that started it all. I bought her back in 2023 and yes, she is still with me. And because of her, I have a little over 400 Hoyas. So since then, I've noticed that there are so many other Hoyas that look very similar to her. They have that creamy margin with that dark green in the center. So in today's video, I am going to share some of my Hoyas that remind me of my queen. Whether it's the variegation, the shape of the leaf, or just the overlook of the carnosa. And I think that a few of these will surprise you. So my friend, if you are new to my channel, I encourage you to hit that button below and subscribe. Don't miss any of my plant videos. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a like. And if you are a returning subscriber, yes, thank you so much for supporting me. Gracias. I will see you at the end. Every so often, I love to bring my OGs and my Hoyas out here for runs. Not just because they're dusty, but because this is part of how I keep them healthy. Es una rutina. It's a routine. Rinsing the leaves helps remove debris and helps remove pests like spider mites and mealybugs. And it gives the leaves a chance to breathe. Plus, she really seems to enjoy it. Those thick, waxy leaves hold water droplets like little pearls. It's also a great time for me to check on her, inspect the stem, see if anything needs pruning, and just reconnect. The plant has been with me since the beginning, and she still shines. Mira que belleza. The pink pops more when the margins are clean, and honestly, she looks refreshed. It's a small way I show her I love her, and she's always rewarding me with new growth. Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. Let's start with the OG herself. The queen is a Hoya Carnosa with creamy white edges and dark green center. New growth often emerges pink, hermosura, especially under strong light. It's native to South Asia and grows as an epiphyte. In our homes, it loves bright light, indirect light, and a chunky, well-draining soil. It's a slow to moderate grower, and it does beautifully in hanging basket or climbing setups. This queen right here is a little different from the original. See how her leaves are rounder and have a slightly more puckered texture? They almost look a little like a spoon or a paddle, thicker than my OG and with less pronounced points at the tip. What's really cool about this one is that it reminds me of the Q. Not just its shape, but also in how she grows. She stays more compact and her vines aren't as wide or fast stretching. The variegation is super similar to the queen, creamy with white margins and green center, but it sometimes looks a little shorter or more blended. The snowball is one of the closest lookalikes to the queen. Like seriously, at first glance you might think it's a queen, but there's a few differences that makes her stand out once you get to know her. Primeramente, her leaves are rounder and more thicker. They almost feel like pebbles when you touch them. Very firm and succulent-like. The variegation is still the classic creamy white margin with green center, but is often softer and more pastel in tone. Some of her new growth even blushes just a hint of pink under strong light, though not as vibrant as the queen. I read that she gets her name from the cute round clusters of white bloom como bolitas de nieve, that really do look like snowball when they open. Susie Q is one of the newest cultivars in the Hoya Carnosa family, and she is really giving that Crimson Queen a run for her crown. At first glance, you might mistake her by the queen, pero ojo, take a closer look and you will notice a few standout features. Her leaves are a little longer and more pointed than the queen, and they often have a slightly rippled or undulating texture. Una de las cosas que me gusta de la queen, one of my favorite features, is how intensely pink the new growth can be. Sometimes even pinker than the queen, especialmente under bright light. If you love the Crimson Queen, but want something with just a little more flair and drama, Susie Q is the one for you. The Carnosa Pride has bold variegation with wide creamy white border and darker green center. It's another cultivar of the Carnosa, so the care is the same, easy, forgiving, and beginner-friendly. Otra hermosura. It grows just like the queen, but often has thicker vines with a more dramatic contrast in the variegation. The name Purple Pride comes from the purple hues that appears in the foliage and sometimes in the flower. And I first fell in love with this Purple Pride because of that purple highlight color. This cultivar is dreamy, pun intended. It features creamy white outer edges and rich green center. But sometimes, a veces, just a veces, the green is marbled or even silvery. New leaves often flush pink in highlight. It's a carnosa at heart, so it likes similar care. It's a moderate grower and can get splashy, adding even more interest. The dream in the name really fits because the combination of that soft color and delicate flowers feel almost magical. It's a plant that adds a calming, peaceful vibe to any room. One of the things I love about this one is honestly just the name, Flamingo Dream, Sueño de Flamingo. Sounds like a tropical vacation. It gives this fun, playful energy to the plant, which totally fits when you see those pastel colors coming through the leaves. Even though SP Para Albo and the Hoya Carnosa Queen come from different backgrounds, they share some similarity traits because of how variegation works. I also like the shape of the leaves. They're not thick and waxy like some of the other Hoyas, but they still feel sturdy. Mine isn't trading yet. Todavía no. She's just kind of sitting there, doing her own thing, slowly, despacito, putting out new growth. Not in a rush at all, but I don't mind. Está muy bien. She's got that calm presence, and when a new leaf just comes out, it's like Christmas. Always rewarding. The Pachiclara, reclassified as the subquintuple nervous, this one has creamy outer variegation and thick, succulent-like foliage. It's muy despacita. She's slower. It's a slower growing, but oh so beautiful, hermosa, especially when it's sunstressed in this pinkish tone. She is native to Thailand and it prefers higher light and less frequent watering. It's like a mini chunky version of the queen. Both have creamy variegation, but the Pachiclara variegated stays compact and thick, while the queen grows longer vines with softer, flatter foliage. The Acuta variegated reminds me of the queen because they both have that creamy white variegation, but the Acuta variegated has more elongated pointed leaves that tend to be a bit more upright and structured compared to the queen, who is trailing. She is so underrated. The leaves have this glossy texture, and when the light hits it just right, that variegación cremita really pops. It's usually along the edges, but sometimes it's kind of blended into the green, which gives this soft, almost a faded effect. Carrie variegated and the Queen both have beautiful variegation, but they show it off in totally different ways. Carrie has those super thick, heart-shaped leaves, bien grandota y bien gorditas, like little succulents, and the variegation usually runs along the edges in a creamy white and yellowish tone. The Australis Lisa and the Queen both bring their pop of color and variegation, but they do it on their own way, very unique. Lisa has this most pintada a mano look, painted by hand, with warm tones of yellow, lime green, and sometimes even a blush in the center of the leaf. The veins really stand out, especially when there is good light. The Queen has a cleaner, more classic look, variegación blanca en las orillas, white variegation on the edges, and sometimes full white leaves that look like little porcelain hearts. Lisa tends to grow upward at first and then trails gently over time, while the Queen is ready to take off once she is settled. They're both stunning, just in different ways. Lisa brings that soft glow, and the Queen keeps it bright and bold. Yes, the Hoyas and the Queen are totally different in shape, but they both bring that delicate look. Hoyas has these tiny rounded leaves, hojitas chiquitas y brillantes, small and shiny leaves that almost look like little coins. They grow super close together, making the plant look nice and full even when it's young. Both have soft, creamy variegation and glossy leaves. The Queen is usually white on the edges, while the Hoyas sometimes has pale yellow or cream tones in the center. Los dos tienen ese brillo sano y colores suaves. How about the Australis outer variegated and the Queen? Again, they have that creamy white variegation in las orillas, variegation in the edges. The main difference is the leaf shape and texture. Australis is rounder, thicker leaf, como suculentas, while the Queens are thinner, more heart-shaped and sometimes even a little wavy. But from a distance, they can give off a similar vibe. Like if you saw them across the room, you wouldn't think, wait, is that another Queen? They both trail nicely, grow fairly fast when they're happy, and look great in a hanging pot or draped over a shelf. Alright, planty people, that is it for today's tour of my beautiful Krimson Queen lookalikes. Let me know in the comments if you have any of these, or if there's one that I missed that totally gives a Queen vibe. Gracias por estar aquí conmigo. It really means a lot. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay majestical and have a blessed day.